powerlifted for Ireland. I want to collect belts and paychecks. So I was obviously just like two belts on my shoulders. I won the national championships, represented my country. These guys just want to collect clout from OnlyFans girls. You know, anybody on the MISFITS rankings, ICB rankings, whatever else, I will march them down and I will fucking break them. And then everyone up to me was like, the champ does what the fuck he wants.
I'm Vim Yonk, and then we've got Jalum as well here. We've also got Keith Burke, ICB and UCC heavyweight champion, and also Irish tattoo artist. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me.
No, not a problem. Thanks for taking the time to come speak with us. It's much appreciated. So
I've got I'll butt in and ask one question first, and I'm just really curious. What got you into tattooing? Like, I'm just really curious on that.
You know what? When I was growing up, I was like a big like WWE fan, and I think like the Undertaker was the first character or like sports entertainer I'd seen with sleeves. His tattoos were done by a guy from New York called Paul Booth, who's like tattooed like Ozzy Osbourne, Corey Taylor, all the members of Pantera, things like that. And I was lucky enough to meet Paul. About 2 years ago, he came to work in Dublin. I picked his brain about music more so than tattooing. So there was that comboed with my uncle had like the generic 90s tattoos, you know, like a Grim Reaper on a Harley Davidson with a naked woman with her tits out kind of shit. When I was growing up, I just thought it was badass, like, you know what I mean? And I don't necessarily say I always wanted to be a tattooer, but I was heavily influenced with obviously wrestling, and then like the music I listened to growing up, like all the frontmen had like serious amount of artwork and stuff like that done. So I promised myself when I was able to afford it and old enough that I would start getting like tattooed. So I grew up around like, you know, when like Bring Me the Horizon started. So like Ollie Sykes' big throat tattoo, all that kind of stuff. A lot of like hardcore bands and stuff. So a lot of my first tattoos were music related. And then I kind of just collected everything I have over the last like 18 to 20 years. And I was obviously a client first. Then my best friends opened the shop and I managed that. So I learned how to tattoo about 12 years ago and kind of like slowly segued into it, as opposed to like always wanting to be a tattooer. I kind of just, I suppose, tattooing found me as opposed to me seeking tattooing out, you know?
That's really cool.
Yeah. Would you ever? This is completely off topic, but would you ever get in like the squared ring and wrestle someone since you used to watch it? Or
so I live and I work in Dublin, but I'm from a place called Limerick back home. There's a tattoo shop I go and work in, and one of the guys who owns the shop actually owns a wrestling promotion called Hard Knocks, and I've always been like. Because like even at the UCC fight card, you know, when you're going in and get a feel for the ring and stuff like that, like you just have overwanting well to run the ropes and like bounce off.
Bounce off. Yeah.
And I've always joked with Steve that like, oh, let me come to one of the events and like, you know, like come in with a steel chair and take a bump or a power slam or some shit.
It's something I've always wanted to do. I did it for my ultra fight as well. I just went in and did a little and then the other one. It's the urge of it. Oh man, that's brilliant. I've always at least wanted to have like one like wrestling match. I've always wanted to just see it. Obviously, I know it's hard.
Yeah.
Because I know it's hard, but obviously the kid in me, I really want to do at least one. Or at least I want to take a chop as well. Because I know they wreck as well.
But that's it. I mean, even when I won the ICB belt, like the only thing like I had to compare it to as a child is like when they put like the wrestling belt around like Shawn Michaels or Stone Cold or something back in the day. You know what I mean? And all my friends, because I obviously have both belts now in my studio, and everyone who's coming to see the belts and coming in for the tattoo appointment are like, oh man, they're way heavier than I thought. Because you know, when you see these belts on TV and stuff growing up, it's always like massive fuckers who are holding them. Yeah. And then when you actually hold the belts, you're like, shit, these are deceivingly heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what's your best way? What's your favorite way to hold it? This is the last random ass question. Because I'd have the urge to like go around like this, like obviously shoved over your shoulder or just straight around your waist. Those are the ways I would hold it. To be fair,
obviously when I fought, it was for the vacant UCC and the ICB belt. So obviously I won both belts on the night, and then so my corner man Andy, or my cut man Andy, is also Conor McGregor's cut man. So like they obviously sent down like forged stout cans and all that kind of stuff for when the fight was over. So I was obviously just like two belts on my shoulders. And then everyone around me was like, the champ does what the fuck he wants.
The champ. I love that.
That's brilliant.
So that, you know what? It's the only way I've figured out how to successfully carry both of them is just double shoulders.
Yeah.
Double shot it, that's class.
They look the best as well, especially because you're a heavyweight and you're a big guy, so it'll look it'll look real cool. So you said you've been tattooing for 12 years, was it?
Well, I learned to tattoo 12 years ago, but I had my daughter when I came out of college. So at the time, tattoo apprentices and stuff weren't paid well or paid at all. Things have changed ever so slightly now, but I just had to get a big boy job straight out of college because like nappies and formula and stuff aren't free. But I'm tattooing as my sole income. Probably like the last 5 or 6 years. It gets a bit squirrely because of the COVID restrictions and stuff.
Okay.
But I just say like 5-6 years, get thereabouts.
Yeah. So how long have you been boxing for as well?
Boxing. How long ago was September?
Really?
So you're a double champ. In like 3 or 4
3 months. 4 months.
I did so when I grew up where I'm from, like rugby is a big thing. So I grew up like right around the corner from like Munster Rugby, who are obviously European famous for like Heineken Cup wins and all that kind of stuff. So if you grow up in Limerick, you either like you play hurling or else you play rugby. So I played rugby to a high enough standard when I was a teenager. Then I discovered like cans and women and the kind of the sport thing went out the window. And I took up MMA for a little bit, but it was like more like, you know, amateur classes and stuff like that. Never competed to any standard or level or whatever. But that was 11 years ago. Then there was an 11-year gap of no like combat experience whatsoever. I actually powerlifted for Ireland, won the national championships, represented my country in Europeans.
Wow.
And then I got hurt about 6 years ago. So I tore my ACL and my MCL in my left knee. And the doctor was basically like, we can reconstruct it through surgery, or you can just stop powerlifting. And the thing about powerlifting is it's a lot of investment financially and physically, with not a whole lot of output towards you. Like, I mean, obviously I have medals and trophies that I'm very proud that I have, but then now they're just gathering dust and I have sore hips and knees. So, you know and then the boxing, obviously I've been a fan of like crossover boxing since it started. I went to Manchester AO for KSI, Tommy Fury, and Logan and Dylan. Obviously, I was there for Chase and Tempo as well. And I was just joking with the people we were with, and I was like, "Fucking do that." I was like, you know what I mean? Especially because looking at it from a big dude's point of view, I was like just taking in like what Chase and Tempo were doing, being like, "Well, if I was to fight tomorrow, that's the category I'd be in." And I was like, you know, I've been a fight fan all my life. Obviously, boxing, MMA, like wrestling, as I already mentioned. So I was kind of going through a bit of a rough time, like with my mental health and stuff. And then I know Ben Williams on a personal level. We've done some stuff together in the past, and we would chat whenever we see each other in the gym. And he said, "Oh, I'm doing this UCC thing." And I was like, "All right, okay, cool." And he was like, "Would you like to be involved?" And then we had to try and find an opponent. And obviously, because I'm like 170 and 118 kilos, to try and find a content creator that's similar size to me, or even a tattooer similar size to me, was kind of hard. So that's obviously where Jake came in. He came over from the UK to compete against me and stuff. But I decided, right, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it properly. I started my camp in the Bronx in New York because I was there tattooing. So I went and trained with a guy called Eric Kelly, who has like fought Andre Ward, and like he's fought a who's who of like elite boxers, Golden Gloves champion, world title challenger himself. And then when I came back, I was like, right, I need to keep the same standard of coaching and training. So I went to a gym called Coliseum Gym here in Dublin, and I linked in with Stephen Ormond, who's obviously won like WBC, IBO titles, was a great professional boxer himself, and now a great coach. But also Katie Taylor's dad, Pete, is one of the head coaches there too. So I was around pros for 3 months. You know what I mean? Where I was like in the gym one day training, and like DAZN and Matchroom were there filming like Tyrone McKenna and like Sean McComb and stuff they were on the undercard of the Michael Conlon card that just happened. And then obviously I grew up around boxers, the likes of like Lee Reeves and Paddy Donovan, who fought on the Katie Taylor fight in the Tree Arena.
Yeah.
And then Thomas Carty, who is the actual heavyweight champion of Ireland in the pro game. He's a tattoo client of mine. So I had all these brains to like, what should I be doing? And that kind of stuff.
Pick all the brains, yeah. So you've had a monopoly on it, really.
Absolute fucking nerd for camp. You know what I mean? The whole thing, like reading books and like watching documentaries and all this kind of stuff, and like got my nutrition on point, got like my training on point, all that kind of stuff. Because the beautiful thing about being self-employed and being my own boss is I was able to take a step back from the tattooing for a little bit and invest my time in the training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I went to like 4 days a week. So I had the rest of the week to train, and like basically treated the camp like as if it was like a world title pro fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The best way to do it, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely the best way to do it. That's mental. That like obviously you've had the monopoly there of boxers and boxing knowledge, really. So
that's it. You know what I mean? And obviously I would have I played football for Conor McGregor's pub, the Forge, so I know all those guys in and around Conor and stuff. I interviewed for a job with the Mac Life and stuff like a long time ago, so I know all the SPG and McGregor guys. So I had like all their support leading into the fight and stuff as well. Now with that comes obviously added pressure too.
Yeah, I can imagine.
In the night, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Have you found that there are any parallels between the mental preparation needed for like a boxing match or like boxing camp to getting ready for like a big, like large, intricate piece of tattooing?
Absolutely. I mean, I suffer from what I call tattoo ADD, where I have like a good 6 hours in me, and after that I start getting bored.
Yeah.
And my mind starts to wander and things like that. I do genuinely think whether it be tattooing or with the boxing training, whatever else, a majority of it is mental. Like if you stay switched on and stay focused, the physical stuff isn't like, because everyone knows what the right way and the wrong way of doing things is. It's a matter of like steering the course and staying switched on for the duration of time you need to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because boxing and tattooing are both physically demanding in different ways. Do you find that any of your boxing training also helps with your tattooing, or do you think that tattooing's help with at all with like your boxing training, like physically at all?
So what I will touch on in regards to that kind of crossover, how they help one another, was there's a tattooer by the name of Sean Topper who tattoos in California. But he also tattoos a lot of the guys who train in the UFC in the Ruka gym in I think it's Boca Creek, California. So the likes of like Chico Vera and like what's his name? The guy Touchy Feely, I can't think of his full name, but he tattoos all them. And because obviously I'm a big dude, I get like really shitty back pains if I'm tattooing for a long time. So I think the core work and the training, and maybe like, I'm not going to say cutting down, because I actually didn't lose too much weight for the fight prep, but definitely the being a little bit more limber and training like posterior chain and all those movements, whatever else, definitely diminished the amount of back pain I was suffering from tattooing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how tall are you?
I am 6'1", allegedly.
6'1",
I don't know.
allegedly.
I over 6'1" for the last few weeks, and I'm like, maybe I'm not 6'1".
Yeah. You said you were how, like 117 kilos, was it before?
Yeah. So I weighed in for the title fight at 252 pounds.
Yeah.
And I weighed in this morning at 259. So I've only put on 7 pounds since the weigh-ins. I don't know. I didn't weigh myself the day of the fight.
Yeah.
I did cut a little bit for like photo purposes or the aesthetics.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I survive Christmas and it's only a 7 pound gain, I mean,
yeah, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong there.
I've probably gained like 10, so I think you're all right, lad.
I'm not stepping on the scale until mid-January, I tell you.
Yeah, I'd be in tears, mate, if I did. You mentioned it before, and I'm going to bring it up again. With the mental health thing, obviously, boxing is like a massive boost for that, and it does help people. Obviously, what was more your journey with that? Like, was it more of a like? Was it an immediate thing to you? Did you immediately feel better, or was it like kind of slow? Were you still battling these kind of like demons a bit during the fight or before the fight, or?
So I feel like I'm quite open and vocal on my social medias about like my own trials and tribulations, because like I'm in my 30s now, and obviously I have a certain aesthetic going on and stuff. And I always feel like if I'm open and honest about, how I feel on a daily basis, because, Instagram, for example, is everyone's highlights versus your behind the scenes. And, everyone's like, oh, he's a fucking tattooer and travels the world. And he's got these titles and blah, blah, blah. But like, I feel like if I actually give people a look into the behind the scenes and how I genuinely think on a day-to-day basis, it kind of normalizes that feeling. I know the UK has like issues with mental health, especially amongst young men, and Ireland most certainly does. So I feel like just being a little bit transparent and be honest about how I feel, and like even though I have all these things going on, like I still have like anxiety episodes and I feel down from time to time and things like that. When I took up boxing for obviously competing in the crossover events, I don't want to say like it saved my life, but it definitely gave me a sense of purpose to get out of bed in the morning. Because like even like I touched on a minute ago, even though you're self-employed and you have like your own tattoo studio and stuff like that, like if I woke up one day and I was having a bad episode, I could just not go to work. You know what I mean? Because like it's just me. I'm not going to call myself and be like, I don't feel like tattooing today. I'm going to stay in bed and be upset or whatever. Whereas the sense of purpose I got from the fight camp and the boxing was, if I don't put in the work, I'm going to get my ass kicked. And I'm going to get my ass kicked with all my friends and family. So it was that I kind of leaned into that, whether it be early morning runs or, getting up and doing like your boxing sessions with your coach, even though your body feels like it's falling apart.
Yeah.
I feel like it gave me like an end goal and a target and stuff. So even before the fight was over, it was very important for me to sit down with my coaches and even the guys from the ICB and be like, right, okay, well, I know I've got this fight in front of me, but like, what does the future look for? Because I was so shit scared and fearful of like that dip and that lull in between fight night and what's next, regardless of the outcome. We've all heard the stories of like like Ricky Hatton and stuff, like in between fights would either go on the booze and whatever else and like mental health in the bin. And I was so afraid of that I was very much like, right, okay, I don't want to look past this event, but just for my own sake, I wanted to have some plans in place for 2024 so that when the 17th of December hit, I'm like, shit, now am I back to how I felt a couple of months ago, but like no sense of purpose, So it definitely gave me a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
That's good.
Can you reveal any of these plans, or are they all?
I was going to ask the same question.
So, shortly thereafter, I actually had this conversation with someone yesterday. I was really happy with how the fight was done the 16th of December and then straight into Christmas. So obviously my rest week after the fight was then straight into like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and stuff. But we're also in that weird limbo where you can't get anything done because shit's closed, people are answering emails, stuff like that. I've signed a contract with TNT Promotions in America. With the guys who are behind Hype Boxing and work with the IFL and Adidas Boxing and all that kind of stuff. So I have jumped on board with them. The talk right now, we've discussed potential opponents. I'm 95% sure my next fight will be in Florida. It'll either be the tail end of February or the start of March. So I've already started training for that already, even though we haven't got a fight date yet. We're talking about potential opponents, but the other day, I obviously was ranked 16th in the world with the ICB. So I'm just looking at that 1 to 15 now.
It's a climbing.
Obviously, I've got an eye on the likes of Nick Nack, like people like that, being like, right, okay. Because the end goal for me is I really want to get on MISFITS. Because I feel like I could drag a massive crowd to like a MISFITS card, either in North America or in the UK. So, and then obviously Ben Williams, who's a close friend of mine, debuts on the 20th of January in Leeds, which I'll be there for that. I feel like it's not beyond the possibility of even bringing MISFITS to Dublin, because Kingpin did it, and obviously that ended up in the fucking toilet or whatever. But I mean, they did the Tree Arena, and they pulled a good crowd for that. But I reckon having two people who are spearheading crossover boxing in the country on that bill would put asses in seats in Dublin, you know.
Well, definitely. There's a lot of big personalities around that, not just in Dublin itself, but in Ireland as well. Just there's a lot of big personalities that they could get on cards that would bring a lot of people over. Because like you said, Kingpin did it, and they managed to show out at least somewhat.
It was the better event they did.
Yeah,
to be fair, out of the two,
yeah,
it was definitely the better one in Ireland.
Definitely.
But even like the way like the media day was structured for that, when it was over in Celtic Warrior Gym and all, it was class.
Yeah.
I mean, it had like a big fight feel to it, even midweek. You know what I mean?
It did have the makings of something really, really good. It just, like you said, it just went into the toilet.
Yeah, no.
So
it wasn't exactly sustainable, was it?
No, it definitely wasn't. So you said your end goal's to get onto Misfits. So who would you want? Who would you want to debut against? Would you think?
To be fair, if I'm honest, I actually don't care.
Fair enough.
I feel like Jake, who I just fought, who's a trial and tested MMA fighter, coming into boxing is a tougher test than any of these crossover heavyweights. Because my content that I make is all kind of art based and it's tattoo based, and it's like, you know, me speaking to the camera about like business of tattooing and X, Y, and Z. So I've got that covered. Whereas like when it comes to me and the boxing thing, I literally take it as serious as it's a world title fight. You know what I mean? Because one, you don't play boxing because you can get genuinely hurt. And two, because I'm such a fight fan, I have such respect for the sport. I understand crossover is like, you know, it's sports entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
I get that. But at the end of the day, you have to have a fucking fight.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So you have to be prepared for having a scrap, you know? To be fair, I don't, if I'm honest, if you take the American crossover boxers who are in the heavyweight division, I don't think they're true heavyweights. I genuinely feel like, no offense to them, they're just out of shape, and that's why they're 276 pounds or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Whereas I've been 6'1" and over 100 kilos since I've been like 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, whereas I'm actually a naturally built heavyweight fighter. I walk around at this weight. I mean, I run 5-6K at this weight. I'm not, you know, eating fucking Mackie D's and drinking a chocolate shake and being like, I'll have a fight next week. You know what I mean?
No,
like, even when I diet, I'm still walking around at 116, 117 kilos, you know? And I think it's a very different story as well. As obviously I got nominated for KO of the year and Fighter of the year and all that stuff with the ICB. But if you look at the people who were in the KO of the year award or whatever else, my finish is the most clinical one there. It's like precise, pinpoint, hit him with a shot, see what reaction was, step back, picking my shots, and got him out of there. It wasn't waved off by the referee. It wasn't a mouth guard fucking spat onto the floor. It was literally, I finished him because he couldn't answer the referee. You know what I mean? And I feel like when a natural person of my weight who can actually pick his shots hits these guys, they're gonna feel it. And you've got to bear in mind as well, I got him out of there with 16-ounce gloves on. You know what I mean? So imagine 2014.
In tens or something.
Yeah, because Misfits like 10s and 12s, aren't they? It's gonna be brutal.
Jesus.
You know, so like I was obviously conscious of fighting Jake because Jake is a tried and tested striker. He's a good fighter. He hit me with some big shots in the first round, and I was kind of like shit. And there was a moment there where I was like, fuck, I don't know if I can do this. And then obviously just stayed the course, listened to my coaches. But I feel like these other guys, the knickknacks, the chases, the tempos, or whatever else, I think it's a different ball game because all these guys have footage on YouTube and on Fight TV and stuff that I can go and pick apart and hand it to my coaches and be like, right, what do we do? And then I have 8-10 weeks to plan for what that person does. You know what I mean? Because we're all training such a short period of time in the grand scheme of things, that we all have bad habits. We all have things that can be used against us, me included. You know what I mean? I'm not oblivious to that. It's just a matter of who goes in with the better game plan, better preparation. And I feel like I'm going to give this the next 18 to 24 months, work my balls off, and see where we are at the end of it. And I feel like, if I'm brutally honest, I'm just going to leave a tray of destruction behind me.
That's the best way.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the best way to do it. I actually think like one of the reasons I've obviously got this interview with you is obviously because you're coming off the back of a good win over in Ireland. But I actually kind of think you're gonna like blow up with it very soon. So I was kind of like, I wanted to see it. Obviously, like I want to get in there before you get too famous enough to you know. But like, yeah, I just kind of thought, yeah, I was like, because you know, Amber, because I saw you on Instagram before Amber posted it on like stuff like Twitter because I have seen stuff like that before.
Yeah.
But like, I was a bit like, you know what? I really want to see what he's about. That's what it was basically curiosity, and I do think you are going to make it.
But that's the thing as well. I mean, I think that there's an appetite, especially in the Irish market, for this. And I think, obviously, you have Ben, and I feel like I'm not afraid of the camera. I'll fucking talk, and I'm able to back up what I'm saying as well. And I'm not afraid of any of these guys. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, I want to collect belts and paychecks. These guys just want to collect clout from OnlyFans girls. You know what I mean? And I'm not about that. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's very true.
And even like when I watched back my fight, even though I was getting hit with big shots, I took them, kept marching forward. I will literally, anybody on the Misfits rankings, ICB rankings, whatever else, I will march them down and I will fucking break them, and then I'll get them out of there.
That's clippable, that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's clippable.
Someone clip
that. Right
That's the intro there.
That's the intro there, right there.
No, I
really do think. I think you are about it. Like, I do think you're gonna. A lot of these lads in heavyweight, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. A very few of them are built that way. Some of them are, most of them really aren't.
Yeah.
And I feel like you will go in there and kind of devastate a lot of them. I won't lie. But that's the interest of it. So we won't know until they throw you in there, will we? That's what they've got to.
That's it, exactly.
That's what, that's what they're going to throw you in there, aren't they? That's
the reason why, like, even I train Christmas Day, train Boxing Day. I've trained today already. I'm back in the actual boxing gym tomorrow. I trained for 3 months. I took a week off to rest up or whatever else, but I'm back training again already. So I'm just picking back up from the last camp. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've looked after the weight, as I already previously mentioned. Like, I'm good to go. I promised the guys at TNT that, like, you know, my body's good. I'm looking after myself, whatever else. I think in a hypothetical situation, all things going my way, I would like to obviously do Florida with the guys in TNT at the start of the year, and then maybe the UCC card towards the tail end of next year. You know what I mean? And maybe get on Misfits in between, all that kind of stuff, you know? I'm very clear on what I want to do. I've told my management team what I want to do, and they're just going to make a path and be like, right, okay, well, this is how you're going to get there, you know?
Amazing.
Is there anything else you want to ask them? Because you had a few, didn't you?
Yeah, just going back to how you were saying before, you were picking your shots, and you know, precision is it was very key with you getting him out of there. You know, because you're picking your shots, lining them up, and hitting them with them. It's all about precision. Do you think that that you like working as a tattooist and having that as like your main thing has helped with your precision at all in boxing?
I don't know if it's like helped in that sense. All I know is, obviously, from being a fight fan and watching a lot of crossover boxing over the last year or whatever else, everyone is so hungry to headhunt. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you'll see a fight and it'll be like rock and sock and robots, where it's literally like, you punch me twice in the head, I'll punch you twice in the head, and we'll see who falls down.
Yeah.
I think the likes of like Dean the Great and stuff, watching him fight, and especially the smaller guys, even like Slim and Salt and stuff like that. Like, you know, especially in the heavyweight division, if you're fighting a big guy, it's like the old like Rocky theme, you know, in Rocky 4, it's like where he's chopping down like big oak trees. If you fucking rattle someone to the kidneys or the belly or whatever else, eventually the hands and the head will fall. You know? Whereas I think even like watching a lot of like IFL over the last couple of weeks and stuff in anticipation of picking an opponent, it's like, you know, everyone just goes in there like bang, 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 and that's all it is. And then they punch themselves out. Whereas like you catch someone in the liver, you catch someone in the kidneys, or just underneath the rib or whatever else, like you don't need to fucking break their jaw. You know what I mean? You don't need to put your fist, you know, you can just get them out of there. Because even there's an after movie for my fight coming out. It's being made right now. And I called the morning of the fight. I called it. I was like, I'm going to hit him in the belly button. and then as I hit him, I'm gonna come up the top of the right.
Yeah.
And if you watch the fight back, I got him twice with it, and the second time I got him out of there.
Amazing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, because everyone goes like bang to the belly, and their automatic reaction is this. And then if you come straight over the top of the right, I mean, like I said, I'm fucking like 18, 19 stone, and if I hit you, you're going down. Simple as that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's
I do think sorry, Vim. I was going to say that I do think there's a difference between like the weight you're at and that being like a natural, like with muscle mass as well, compared to a heavyweight that's just kind of,
flabby,
not meant to be a heavyweight, like
that's
flabby.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I said this in an interview, post-fight, backstage, or whatever else. I didn't lift a dumbbell or a weight for 3 months. I literally did body weight stuff, ran and boxed. That's it. Because I figured like, oh, Jake was a true mixed martial artist and he was a fighter or whatever else. But I needed to. I didn't want to go in there all stiff and muscle bound. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a bodybuilding show for me. It was a fight, and I need to be able to move.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, I'll probably incorporate some strength and conditioning for this camp because every opponent that's been suggested to me is bigger and stronger than me, and it's not a case of out muscling them. It's just a case of you don't want to be bullied and pushed around either. You know what I mean? So I'll probably pick back up the bicep curls or something for the next fight, but I didn't go near them.
Just get the pump on so you can get the good pitches, isn't it?
Exactly,
good pump on the night.
Yeah.
I got the
no, it's interesting that you do mention the headhunting thing because I feel like the audience does it as well. They look for headshots as well because you'll see they'll be like, oh, look at how his head went back. But at the end of the day, that one punch is still one punch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's and it's the same with knockdowns, a win, and all that kind of stuff.
I always look at the analogy of like if you had a fight in a schoolyard, right? And let's say you beat the fuck out of a guy for like 2 or 3 minutes, but then he bloodies your nose.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna go, oh, well, he won because he drew blood.
Yeah. Your shirt's all covered in blood, and he looks totally fine. Yeah. I see the timer running at the top, so I just want to ask. It's a bit of a weird one. It's not that weird, but if you could. If you could tattoo any famous boxer, past, present, who would you want to do, and what style do you think would suit their personality?
You know what? I am a massive Gervonta Davis fan. Obviously, I know he's changed his name now, but I would love to tattoo Tank, Tank, or I mean, I would also love to take the credit for Tyson's face tattoo. I mean, that'd be pretty fucking dope.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Do you reckon that's arguably one of the most famous tattoos?
Absolutely,
like, I think it definitely is. Yeah.
Tyson's face tattoo and David Beckham's back tattoo, hands down.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the only one that comes close, and I still think it's like leagues under, is Steve-O's face. His own portrait that he's got. I think that comes close as well. But no, this has been really interesting. And no, I 100% reckon you're hungry for it. So I can see you being on Misfits within the next 12 months. Honestly, like if I had to put money on it, next 12 months I'd see you on Misfits.
I have an idea to film like a skit video over the next few weeks in the studio about like getting like a blonde wig and like putting on a white vest and doing like a parody of Eminem's Stan, but it's to Mams.
That'd be absolutely incredible.
Do it, please.
So we're just working on that. Whatever, we got to change the rap lyrics to some boxing crossover related topics.
Yeah, no, that'd be amazing. That'd be great. And that's the thing. It's like you're showcasing your personality and showing that you're serious about your boxing, but you're also can put your content out and actually promote stuff, which is something that this scene is lacking. Definitely is a lack of promotion.
But that's the thing as well, because even after the fight was over, I had every Tom, Dick, and Harry calling me out in the DMs or whatever, and I was like, "You don't make content. You don't qualify to be in this league." You know what I mean?
No,
I'm not going to put my life on hold for 3 months to fight a guy who lives in a flat down the street. You know what I mean? It
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But right, that time is about to run out, so it doesn't cut us off short. Thank you so much, Keith, for joining us. Like I said, been an amazing conversation. Really appreciate it, and I hope we can do more in the future. Maybe when you're actually on Misfits as well. We'll come in. I'll be cheering you on ringside.
Make sure that Outcast guys get an interview before anybody else.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll probably see you in Leeds, to be fair.
100%. And if you do, come and say hi so I can meet you in person.
Yeah, definitely. Will do.
Absolutely, mate.
So thank you very much for your time, Keith, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, mate.
Thank you so much, and Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Happy New Year, mate.
Appreciate you.
Cheers.
Take care.